current contract provides the extension of the contract period for an additional year for November 1, 2016 to October 31, 2017. There would be no increase in the contract, so a 0% increase. And so the recommendation is that a one-year contract extension for claimability management to provide their services at the cost of $5,500 per month, plus professional services is required for November 1, 2016 to October 31, 2017 be approved.
You've seen the staff recommendation, moved by Milt, seconded by Mike. Any further discussions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you.
Next, we have the BDO payroll review costs. As you will recall, the HR department was provided direction on March 3rd to contract services to an outside consultant, specifically BDO, to conduct a payroll audit. At that time, we reported an estimated amount of $25,000 to $30,000. The report is now complete, and we've received the invoice that reflects a total of $43,315.26. So the additional costs can be attributed to additional interviews that were conducted at our request, and also to a second presentation to the senior management team for further clarity on the review. So the recommendation that the Human Resources Department be provided direction to fund the additional costs of $13,315.26 for the full amount of $43,315 to deliver the payroll review from the Tax Stabilization Reserve.
There is a staff recommendation. Do I have a mover and seconder? Moved by Ann, seconded by Robert. Just a question with regards to the extra meetings and all that. Would that not have been part of the RFP process? Because 13 grand is still 13 grand.
BDO had actually provided their estimate a couple of years prior to, and so they were basing it based on their previous estimate of a couple of years ago. We had put the project on hold at that time, and so no, I would say it was not included.
It's 50% higher than the quote, like with cost or consumer price index. How do they get 50% more in 2 years?
I'll defer to the CEO at this
Through you, Mr. Warden, it's not quite 50%. The change in rate was actually the 8,000, the difference between 30,000 and 38,000. The change in scope was originally when the request was received. The suggestion at that time from BDO was that a subset of the senior management team could be interviewed, and once they were on site and they had conducted the interview with the subset, it was determined at that time that they needed to expand the scope. So, or they recommended it and we concurred with the recommendation. That's what I should say.
Okay.
You know, I'm sorry. What were they doing? Could you bring me up to speed? And I apologize for not being up to speed.
Through you, Mr. Warden, the detail of the report will be in a closed session, and we can talk about it in terms of detail at that time. But effectively, it was a full review of the payroll system, the payroll procedures, and the mechanics of how payroll is functioning.
Ann?
So I take it in the long run, it could be, there could be efficiencies. We could, you know, we might not save that much money, but there might be some efficiencies and things that are discovered. And it's probably part of a requirement anyway.
Through you, Mr. Warden, when we get in and go through the details of the report, when we get into closed session, indeed there will be efficiencies and in particular an elevation of the knowledge base to allow us to advance the organization as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the motion on the floor. Do I have any more discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, we will now go into closed. Do I have a mover and seconder to go into closed? Ann, Milt, all's in favor? We are now in camera.